Self-image is a mental image created by oneself about oneself in one's own mind, and that image is created based on the information supplied by one's own 6 sense organs, which are the 5 external sense organs called eye, ear, nose, tongue, etc., and the internal sense organ called the mind. As that image is based on real experience, one would believe that image too is real and identifies oneself with that image. Though it looks real, actually it is not real, because it is based on the insufficient and wrong information about oneself supplied by one's own sense organs. No sense organ is capable of knowing the real nature of its sense object. Therefore, the self-image is based on insufficient, inadequate, and also wrong information supplied by the sense organs. Without realizing the real nature of this illusory image, one gets strongly attached with that image and identifies oneself with that image. Therefore, if that image is insulted by somebody, one would get very much hurt, because one has identified oneself with that image and think, so somebody hurt me, somebody insulted me, he is wrong and he has misinterpreted myself, estimated myself wrongly. With such thoughts, one's own mind get confused and also get activated to generate tension, hate, anger, etc. That means our own self-image can give rise to our mental disturbances, our own mental suffering. But once we understand the real nature of this image, that tension, frustration, or hurt caused by somebody's insult will get diminished gradually. To realize what that image really is, one has to observe that image scientifically. as that image is within one's own mind, one has to observe how the mind works. Our mind works through thinking. Our thinking is based on our likes, dislikes and ignorance. That means we think of things that we like. That is through attachment. We like our own image. Therefore, we may think about our own image. We dislike somebody underestimating or misinterpreting or insulting that image. Then we think of what we dislike. We think of our image as ourselves, our real self, through ignorance of its reality. And through that ignorance too, one would start thinking about it. But once one starts observing oneself in one's own mind, one would gradually realize that mental image is not permanent. It is always changing. Not only the mental image of ourselves, but our own body, the physical body. Daily, in fact, scientifically, in every moment, we are changing, both mentally and physically. So that we cannot retain a permanent identity of our body or our mind. Mind means the mental image. Our mind is filled with mental images created by our own thinking. Therefore, our mind is a reservoir of mental images, illusory mental images. Once we start observing those images, we would gradually realize the real nature of those mental images. In fact, we have an image of ourselves. That image consists of so many items put together. So many items are connected with that image. For example, when we identify that image as I, then we think my family, my wife, my husband, my children, my brothers and sisters, my relatives, my friends, my enemies, my country, my wealth, my fame, my name, and so on. That means our self-image is composed of several items, which too are created by our own mind, based on sensory experiences. But in actual reality, there is really nothing permanent in this physical world. not even in our mental world of mental creations, because every mental or physical item is subjected to constant birth, decay and death, generation and degeneration. Those images are created by the universal energy, which is impersonal, which has no form, but the formless energy can get transformed into different forms. All forms that we experience are not really physical forms, but only forms created by our own mind, because no sense organ of ours is capable of knowing the real nature of anything that our sense organs experience. All what we experience is illusory. So is our self-image, an illusion created by our own mind, and that appears to be real even though it is not actually real. What is real within us, within our own mind, is nothingness. The things, physical things, and the reflections of those things as mental images, mental things, are not real, because they are based on insufficient, wrong information, as I mentioned earlier, provided by our sense organs. Once one realizes that all mental creations are subjected to birth, decay and death, that means whatever that is created by the mind is subjected to decay and destruction. Nothing can last long. That means there is nothing physical or mental that we can hold on to. Even the ultimate reality called nirvana within our own mind is called atakkavacharam, that means that cannot be grasped by the mind. What is grasped by the mind is an idea, a mental concept. Nirvana is not a mental concept. Nirvana is the original state of mind, devoid of all the mental creation called mental images created by the mind. That means beyond concepts, beyond ideas, beyond opinions, beyond thoughts, beyond the process of thinking. The reality can be realized when the process of thinking ceases. That is why the Buddha said at his enlightenment, when you realize the ultimate truth of things, visankaragatan citta, the mind ceased to thinking. The thinking process came to an ending. No more thinking. No more thinking means no more mental images. That is the ultimate reality of the mind. And that emptiness is the ultimate reality of this universe. Because every item, physical item in this universe is constantly changing, unable to retain a permanent identity even for a second. The energy is dynamic, in a state of transformation, constantly retaining no permanent identity. But it happens within that emptiness of the universe and the emptiness of the mind. That is the ultimate reality. Therefore, voidness or emptiness is the actual reality behind all mental images, which are illusions created by one's own mind. Once one is enlightened, no more mental images are created. Creation of mental images are called in the Buddha's language Pali as Sankara. In his first paean of joy after enlightenment, Buddha said, at his enlightenment, Visankara gatan chitta. All thought formation ceased at my enlightenment. That means mind turned to be empty. Nirvana is that emptiness, sunyata. One can realize that in deep meditation, when all thinking ceases, and also when all sensing too ceases. Mind has two functions. One is sensing, becoming aware of sense signals. And then the other activity of the mind is thinking of them. First step is ceasing of thinking, that is enlightenment. Then the last step is cessation of sensing of sense organs. That became permanent at the final passing away when we are not reborn in another body or in another mind. That means we are originally empty, and by means of enlightenment, we turn to be that emptiness at the final passing away, retaining no body and no mind. That means retaining no self-image. That is enlightenment.